ladies and gentlemen, I am Corey from Super Kami Guru 9000, and thank you for joining me for my review of the final episode of Season 1 of Assassination Classroom. That's right, my friends, this week's episode was the final episode of Season 1 and featured the climactic battle between Nagisa and Takaoka, and it certainly has a shocking ending. Speaking of shocking, I honestly didn't expect that this was going to be the final episode of Season 1. I only say that because the final episode right here just flew right by. Really only two things happened. Nagisa beat the ever-living crap out of Takaoka, and the other students are fine, they're not poisoned, and they went back to class. That was pretty much the entire episode. However, this one was very nice. This was a very yin-yang type of episode, where the first half was very dark and intense and atmospheric, and the second half was very lighthearted, upbeat, and just made you feel good. So let's talk about some of the highlights of this week's episode. First and foremost, Nagisa versus Takaoka. It's not so much a fight as it is a massacre. It opens up with Takaoka just literally beating the ever-living shit out of Nagisa, punching him, kicking him. It's really messed up seeing a grown adult beat the crap out of this young middle school student, although, as we know, the students of Class 3E aren't exactly normal, especially Nagisa himself, and what I loved about this episode is that they finally followed up on that secret technique that he learned from Lovro, which I honestly thought was going to be a little flashier, but it was still pretty cool, and it's going to involve the use of two weapons. And this is when Nagisa decides to trust his inner assassin instincts, and he does this amazing plan where he slowly starts to walk up to Takaoka, which is already visibly freaking him out, and his eyes are glued to that knife. And this is all a part of Nagisa's plan, because he wants Takaoka to focus on that knife, and what he does is he actually doesn't use it in the attack. He straight up just drops it, simple as that. But Takaoka cannot keep his eyes off of this, and this gives Nagisa the perfect opportunity to snake around him and get behind him like a cobra and hit him at point-blank range with his frickin' taser, which completely knocks him out. The tension during the scene is so incredible you could cut it with a knife. What I really love about the scene, though, is the overall atmosphere and the lighting, with all these big blooming lights in the background set against the blues and the greens. They really make Nagisa seem incredibly terrifying, and I love the fact that he could just finish off Takaoka right here with a big coup de grace, but instead, he decides to thank him for all the things that he learned from him, and he gives him a smile, which will haunt his dreams forever. So Takaoka's been defeated, which means we're also going to see the return of those three assassins that the other students took care of, and we get to learn that they're not actually going to finish up Takaoka's dirty work. They are basically there to do their job, and they are done. They are very professional assassins. In fact, we also learn that the students who were poisoned are actually not going to be in trouble at all. The poison that they received was actually from that one smog guy, and they're basically just going to be sick for about 24 hours, and they even gave them their own personalized medicine. So the students of Class 3E are going to be fine. The reason they decided to go with this plan is because they believe that what Takaoka was doing was pretty freaking messed up. And when one of those guys actually loves to put guns in his mouth and uses those to eat and says that that's pretty messed up, you know that's pretty freaking messed up. That scene is very ironic, seeing those really ridiculous crazy guys come up and say, yeah, Takaoka was kind of insane and we were just in this for the work. Simple as that. But in a way, these, like, weird assassins have also sort of inspired the class of 3E as well, which I think is really strange. The final bit of the episode is just getting to see all of the students hanging out at the beach at sunset. Koro-sensei gets his original body back, and he's hanging out with all the students, trying to make up for all the lost time that was caused by Takaoka and his ridiculous hostage situation. I especially love the scene where Koro-sensei congratulates Nagisa as they look off into the sunset. It's a very heartwarming scene. And there's even a little bit of Professor Bitch fan service. Alright. So what's the rundown on the final episode of Assassination Classroom Season 1? It was really good. I'm still kind of shocked that this is going to be the episode they're going to use for the end of Season 1, but it did wrap up everything nicely that was going on in this story. I just wanted to learn a little bit more about Koro-sensei and his backstory and why he destroyed the moon and why he wants to destroy the Earth. Obviously, this is material that they are going to be saving for much later on, but this is a case of, I want my Oompa Loompa now, and it's going to be one hell of a long wait, having to wait for that second season, which luckily is going to be beginning at the very beginning of 2016, so it's not going to be too long, but about half a year, which is going to be kind of a shame. That's when the second term is going to begin. This episode right here, though, I thought was handled really well. I thought it was very atmospheric, and like I said, there's a very yin-yang aspect to this episode, where the first half is incredibly tense, lots of dark blues and blacks. The second half is nice and bright and sunny and cheery. It's just a really nice roller coaster of an episode. I liked getting to see some of the other students again, and to know that they're all going to be just fine. I didn't really imagine that the series was going to go into territory that dark this early on, but still, this is basically like a teaser for some of the crazier things that are probably going to happen much later in the series. I also really liked that they actually went back to the classroom at the very end of the episode. It was surprisingly nostalgic to see them all back in the classroom after they've been gone for weeks. It was literally like returning back to school, and I thought that was handled really well. On the technical side of things, this episode was pretty much identical to the other ones. It certainly has its own style and animation and artwork. At least it's pretty clean and consistent for the most part, but really nothing too groundbreaking, but still a very nice looking series, which I think is something that is a very big accomplishment for the show. I'm just really anxious to see what they're going to do with the second season of the series. Hopefully this will give them an opportunity for some more characterization, maybe getting to learn a little bit more about the actual students of Class 3E, because as much as I want to say I know the names of every single student, I just don't. You know, there's so many students who barely had an opportunity to shine in the first season. Really, the only ones I remember as far as names go is Nagisa Shiota and Karma Akabane. They were definitely the students to look out for. There's also that one female student by the name of Kaede Kayano, who seems like she's the default main female lead, but again, they didn't really do that much with her, but I have a feeling that they are going to do something with her as the series is going to go on. But there were still a few other standout students and some other cool characters. It's just that they all sort of got overshadowed at the end with all these crazy villains who are showing up. Karasuma, who's still an awesome character. Professor Bitch, who's still absolutely hilarious and totally lives up to the name. And then, of course, there's Koro-sensei. You just want to give that guy a hug. When he finally appeared at the end of this week's episode, back in his original form, in his vacation getup, I just wanted to glomp the guy. I love Koro-sensei. He's an amazingly funny character, and I can't wait to see more of how he's going to develop in the second season as well. What I will say is the season finale right here was pretty good. It was exciting, it was incredibly tense, and there was a little bit of alleviation at the very end when we got to see all the students hanging out and enjoying each other's company in this beautiful vacation sunset. And the fact that they were all dressed up in their gym gear just really shows how close all of these students really are. Just a fantastic episode. And there's a lot of little things that you're gonna miss too, like the scene at the very end with Koro-sensei going crazy trying to make up for lost time, building sandcastles, smacking watermelons. It's a really nice, heartwarming, summery scene, which is the perfect way to end this series considering that we are in the dead of summer right now. So this was a very nice finale. I'm very excited for the second season to see where the story is going. What I will say is this one ended on a very nice note, and it's got me excited for the rest. So I'm going to give this week's episode right here a 4 out of 5, a pretty solid conclusion to the first season, but let's get excited. That second season is just around the corner. So I liked this episode quite a bit, but what about you guys? What did you think of the final episode of the first season of Assassination Classroom? Please tell me in the comments section below. Tell me about your favorite moments, favorite characters. Do you have a favorite student, a favorite action scene, a favorite episode? What do you hope to see from the next season of Assassination Classroom? Please tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like it and share it with all of your friends. And make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you can see all of our latest anime and manga reviews. You guys can also check out our brand new podcast show, The Powerful Nerdcast. It features both me and Christian. We talk about a lot of cool stuff. You guys can also follow us on social media. If you guys want to see my reviews of the previous episodes of Assassination Classroom, there will be a playlist for every single episode on the channel, so make sure to check that out, and let's get excited for Season 2. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!